Get a data boost from Fido with 5 hours of unlimited data at no extra cost. That's 5 extra hours of data every month. It's enough to stream a movie and the sequel.
I looked up this morning, they now have 4 cases.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
1 staff member and 3 residents. So your mom's not moving until next month.
No, probably not. You're not in the picture?
Yeah, so do I care?
I don't know. Do you care?
I'm frustrated today.
No, too bad. Okay.
So we live?
Yeah, we are live. Just waiting for people to connect.
Hi,
there's
Donna.
Hi, Donna. Could you speak up?
Hi, Donna.
You don't speak up.
Well, I'm not a teacher like you.
No, you talk loud to me around the house.
Yeah, well, I have to yell at you because you're deaf.
Yeah, right. You don't want to talk. Yeah, we're having a domestic here. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Andy. So I take it everybody can see us and hear us okay, except for Walter.
Hello.
Hi, Teresa. We're just waiting here for other people to join in with us. And I hope everybody's having a good day.
No.
Walter's just in a bitchy mood right now. He had a little problem. He'll tell you about it a little later on. He had a little problem with this coat that he's making. You know, it was perfection. He decided to make it even more perfect.
And I screwed it up.
And he screwed it up. But he'll tell you, he'll fix it. It's already fixed. No one would know until you point it out. No one's going to see that. Yeah, every teacher has their teacher voice. That's for sure. But it always seems when we do a live or when we're recording like So Chatty, he suddenly goes, I'm a mouse, I'm a mouse. But around the house, I don't have any trouble hearing you.
Yeah, well, it's because you're deaf. You don't hear me unless I yell.
Yeah, well, you're ugly. I can always get a hearing aid.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll just wait here another couple of seconds. It's just 4 o'clock now, 4:01, 4:02. And see who else is joining us, and then we'll get going with everything. And we're going to try some fancy things again this week, and I think they will work fine. If not, we'll figure it out. We Quilt Studio, hi. Figured it out. Okay. Hi, We Quilt Studio. Are you new to us? And if so, you're welcome. And if you're one of our usuals, well, welcome back. And do we call you We Quilt Studio, or should we call you something else? Because we don't have any problem calling you anything you want to be called. We can make them up, too, as the time goes on. So, okay. Well, other people will probably be joining us as time goes along here. So let's get started. So what's been happening? Well, let's talk about my mother, shall we? Oh, it's Lisa. Okay, Lisa, great. Hi, Debbie. So yesterday was going to be the big move. My mother was moving into the new residence. Everything was in place. I had to call up Bell, her provider of her TV and of her telephone service, and cancel those at the old home because the new home has some kind of deal with the other rival company, Rogers, for doing TV and telephone. And that's fine because my mother only uses the basic package anyways. And I don't like dealing with Rogers, but, you know, you have as many problems with Bell as well. So, and those are the only 2 choices we've really got in our area. So anyways, I made the arrangements. I canceled it. I jumped through flaming hoops because that's what you always have to do. Hi, Billy. With these companies. Got it all arranged to cut her off on yesterday morning and everything because she'd move into the new place and all that kind of stuff. And I get a call. And apparently there was an outbreak of COVID. Not in my mother's nursing home, but there's another nursing home that's being closed down that's owned by the same corporation. And they've already moved in the residents from it. It's a much smaller home into the new one. And they had a case. What'd you say? Today they have 4 cases now.
Yeah, 4 cases now.
It was started off as 1.
I didn't know that they had already moved.
Yeah.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what she said in that thing. Yeah, they'd already moved those ones in. That's why they didn't want to move in my mother and everybody else that was moving in, because they didn't want them to get anything. Now, the residents are all supposed to have been vaccinated, and so was all the staff supposed to be.
I read somewhere that in Ottawa, anyway, that there was only 65% of the staff that were vaccinated at those because they can opt out.
You know, I'm sorry, but these people that work in these kind of facilities, if they're opting out from the vaccine, I think they should be fired. I really do. Because they're a public health problem.
Unless for some reason they can't get it. But
well, if they can't get the vaccine for this, then what other things can't they get the vaccine for, like flu shot and stuff like that? And they're working with elderly people who, you know, you get a sniffle in a nursing home and that could mean 3 people die from it. So, quite seriously, I don't think those people should be working in those kind of facilities.
Yeah.
At all.
I suppose Teresa's using us for speed.
It's that cable talk so timely right now. The tech is trying to fix my extremely slow internet as we speak. Oh, okay, well, we'll help out. But anyway, so I got the call, and they weren't moving her in tomorrow, and they don't know when they'll be moving them in, because it's going to depend on, of course, getting the outbreak under control. So, you know, it's a minimum of 2 weeks, if not longer. So, fine and dandy. We can wait. Hi, Ann. But in the meantime, I had to go call Belle and reconnect her TV and her telephone. Now, it physically had not been unconnected or disconnected. But, you know, they were supposed to put this in effect on May the 1st. So I called them up. And I said, look, the move isn't happening. And again, I had to jump through flaming hoops to get this all correct. And so the woman on the phone actually was fairly good. She seemed to know what she was doing, and I could understand her. And that's always something with Belle, because usually they have a heavy accent, and you know from what part of the world that accent comes. And I haven't got a clue what they're talking about. But this one, no problem. She had a slight accent, but she was fairly articulate. It was not a problem. So got that all straightened out. And then I got thinking, oh, crap. What if they had disconnected the stuff already, and were about to move it over to the other place when, you know, it got canceled out? That would be a problem. So I emailed over to the nursing home and asked about that, told them what I was concerned about. And they wrote back, says, no, nothing's been disconnected. Everything is as it's supposed to be. And I said, okay, that's one relief. So when she does get moved again, I'll have to go through the flaming hoops again to get everything disconnected and then get her new system hooked up. And yeah,
I would wait to disconnect it until you know for sure she's
yeah, I think so. Well, I thought for sure she was going.
Yeah, well, obviously not.
We didn't expect another outbreak. We thought that part of things was pretty much under control. But I guess not. So anyways, that was the highlight there of all of that. Of course, I let my sister know about the situation. And she said, well, she'd been talking to our mother. And my mother didn't understand, didn't think, she thought, oh, well, we were both coming over to visit her. And Lori said, no, we can't visit you physically. You know that. And she was all confused about the move. Well, she was fine with it when I talked to her earlier in the week. She knew exactly what was going on. So I never know whether or not she's playing us for fools. She does this a lot with my sister. So yeah. I'm never sure.
Either that or your sister doesn't listen and she makes her own twist on it.
That's a good possibility too. So I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I expected my mother to be a little confused about stuff. And I think when she gets into the new nursing home, I'm going to have her checked out for signs of dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, because I just have to know for sure whether or not my mother's playing a game or there is a serious problem. But anyways, yeah, it is what it is, Lisa. Nothing we can do about it. And yeah, they want to keep the residents safe, so I get it. They can't move them into a, into a place that's got 4 cases of COVID. I just kind of am a little bit worried about why, because this is the other home. And it's not the people I'm used to dealing with who have been extremely vigilant through this whole crisis. So,
mind you, the management at the old place is changing too.
I know, and it makes me worried about the new place with them because it's different management too. So, hi, Anita. Andy says, trick for talking to someone with accent. I say I have a slight hearing impairment and ask them to patch me through to someone in the States. Pretty much works every time. Oh, okay, that's an idea. Oh, Anita's been in the kitchen cooking up a storm. Have you, Anita? What you been making? So anyways, we sit and we wait to see when it is my mother's going to get moved in. But I have some updated pictures of the new nursing home. Now that they got the furnishings in and everything. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to cut over so you can see this as well. So we'll see how this works. I shouldn't lose you. If I find my cursor here, go down to here, and should come up here. So this is what the outside of the new nursing home facility looks like. It's very nice, very modern. And we'll go into the individual pictures here. Widen my screen. So here's the reception area, which looks very modern, very nice, very airy. Lots of, space. This is I guess this is an area. No, they call this area, I think, the chapel. That's in here now. Yeah, because there's another picture of the chapel. And you see that frosted walls.
Yeah, there's an office at the front that says chaplain. So.
Yeah. So this is kind of nice. And then they have a family dining room. Now, Walter's mother lived in a home that had something like this as well, where, they've got it all set up so that you can book time in there. And if it's someone's birthday or special occasion or whatever, back when we can physically go in. So, and that looks kind of nice. The nurse's station. And I guess this is now, I don't know if this is on...
Well, that's not on the main floor.
No, that must be another floor up. Apparently, my mother's going to be on the 3rd floor, which I think it's only 3 stories high, I think, this whole building. Yeah. This is a kitchen activity area, they call it, coming up.
Maybe not.
Or maybe not. Well, we're spinning our hoofies. Well, I'm able to switch over to the resident dining area and see what we get out of that. Well, maybe not. Oh, here we go. So, which one is that?
That's kitchen activity area.
Oh, that's kitchen activity area, so it's just a little slow.
So that's on the 2nd floor.
Yeah. So it's nice and lots of windows and things, and I guess that must be for, I don't know, whenever they're doing...
That's a nurse's station.
Yeah.
And then that's probably just an area for them to sit and stare out the window.
Yeah. And this is their dining area. And I noticed they've got plexiglass shields up between them all right now.
Also, they can't spit at each other.
Yeah, they can't spit at each other. But you see, this will be much smaller. My mother's used to eating, well, before COVID, in a room that held 200 people. This holds, what did you say you were?
32.
About 32. Which will be much nicer. And then they have a craft room. And this is their craft room.
Yeah, it doesn't have the stove. So they can't...
No, that's right. They have a sink, though, which is good for, And lots of light in this place, which is nice.
Natural light. So
yeah.
That's good.
As opposed to your unnatural light? And as you can see, they're not huge. There's a bathroom where that door is. They have this wardrobe in here, which is kind of nice. But the only place I can figure out where we're going to be able to put a TV set is here, because this looks like this is where the connection is for the cable. Now, they can probably run an extension around the baseboard, and they might be able to put it up over here. But then that bloody chair is in the way. Mind you, the chair could come out and sit in front of the wardrobe because she doesn't get anything out of that herself anyways. They all do it for her. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe they'll have some suggestions. Oops, going down the wrong way. And this is another view of the room, so you can see the bathroom. Now, with the door opening out like that, it takes up a lot of room. Now,
the one that my mom had a room pretty much the same size, but what they did in her place is they put a sliding door in bathroom.
Well, that would make sense. Of course, in here, look this is interesting here.
That's a rail.
That's the rail for lifting them up and dropping them in the hole. So I don't know. Maybe my mother can take it. Oh, it's a roller coaster! Yay! Now I was thinking. I don't know. This is just. It's hard to tell the size here because here it looks a little wider, but she has a wheelchair. She has to get through there. But I'm wondering if the TV could go kind of
maybe
more than I don't know to see. This is just a basic room, but my mother has a private room, so. And the basic room is 2 rooms. Basically, they're private in the sense that you have a wall, but there's a curtain.
Yeah, it's a peekaboo wall.
Yeah.
They can just walk out and go
peekaboo. And this is their bathroom, and they share the bathroom in there. But she has a private room. And then, of course, they have the spa tub, as they call it. The spa tub. Wow. How luxurious. Oh, look. And they have entertainment. Someone on a trapeze. And they have a spa shower. I love it. They call it a spa shower. Looks very nice, though. All that cedar planking.
There's a commercial in the middle of it.
What's that?
We just had a commercial in the middle of it.
Oh. Not on mine.
Oh, I had to do skip the ad.
Oh. Okay. And this is just another view looking. Where's that looking from? From the side.
That's from the front.
From the front side, yeah.
That's what they call their garden area, so it's right on the road.
Yeah, it's right on the road. But they're right just a stone's throw from the liquor store. It's just on the other side of those trees. So that's convenient for us. But anyways, that's what she's moving into. I think it's very nice. And yeah, it should be quite nice for her. So anyways, I thought I'd just show that to you. Okay. And we're here for it to catch up. Well, I guess we're caught up. So, okay, Anita's talking up a storm here. What's Anita saying? Yes, tried a new broccoli cheese casserole and roast chicken. Sounds yummy. Very nice. Clean, very nice. Yeah, it should be clean. No one's living there. Well, actually, there is people living there, I think, right now. But they're the ones with all COVID. So, yeah, they may well mount the TV set, but the problem is the TV is connected to the internet. That's how the TVs work now. And so you still have a box. So where do you put the box?
On a shelf next to the TV.
I guess, but are they going to be that sophisticated?
I don't know. Well, your mother's not the only one that'll have that problem.
Yeah, so. I know. Yeah. Yeah, the bed is slanted, but the bed goes up. It looks like it's an electric bed, too. So, you know, they raise, they lower.
Actually, I think it's just the perspective for the bed, because actually I don't think it's slanted.
Hi, Angel. Yeah, it's just the perspective of the way the pictures were taken there. But anyways, it does raise up, though.
Yeah, it does, but I don't think the bed itself was slanted. It just may have looked that way in the picture.
Oh, no, I don't think. I think it was straight on. Yeah,
it's a flat bed.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll see what we see when we get there with it. It is nice. I would live there. Be great for the hubby with the rail with the lift. Yeah, maybe. So anyways, that was the update on my mother. So let's move on to other topics right now. What's Walter working on? What's giving Walter a headache?
Well, no, actually, it wasn't giving me a headache until I decided to improve it, and I ended up putting a hole in my lining. I decided to reinforce one of the seams on the lining of my jacket, and I accidentally put a hole through my lining. So either I replace that piece of lining, or I try and fix it. And I have attempted to fix it, but I put another pucker in it, so I have to fix that yet. So, but yeah, I've got to go. We have one final class tomorrow, and that's just to hem it and to put the cuffs on the sleeves. So it's pretty much done, other than I have to fix the lining. But I'll get it.
Just while Walter's getting the coat, the move-in date, Anita, was yesterday. That's been delayed because of the COVID outbreak. And no, you can't get a room where the bathroom door opens inward. They all open outwards. So there must be a reason for that. Maybe it's because if someone fell in the bathroom or something and they wouldn't be able to, and they'd be by the door and they, couldn't get in or something. I don't know. Hi, Teresa.
So here's the coat. We're lagging behind again on that one.
You're looking at the wrong one. This is the one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's that coat. I put in a inside pocket in my coat.
And he's been so happy about that.
And that's not the side I screwed up, so thank God. Because that would have been a real pain. Because then that's the part of the lining that I would fix. And so it's pretty much done, except I have to put buttons on it. I have to do the cuffs. And I have to hem it. So.
Hi, Dana.
Get into it.
Do you need some help?
My sleeve isn't in the right. My sleeve isn't in the right spot.
Okay. All eyes are on Walter as he puts on his coat.
It's a little bit larger than I need, but it seems to fit okay.
Okay. Squat down a bit so you can see the top of it.
Let's see a little bit. That's not very good.
Well, we don't have the right space for having a fashion show in here.
Okay, well, anyway. That's it. I've got it inside line. I've got a pull so that I can pull it around my waist a little better. And I got to put the snaps on the top of the pockets and stuff too. Yeah.
Well, everybody thinks you're doing a great job on it. Yep, it looks really good. Looks better in real life too than it does with what you're seeing it on right now. Now what are you doing?
Now I'm taking it back off.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. I was looking at the time delay. Yeah, that off. So anyways, Lisa says she loves the shoulders on it. Anita says, very nice. You're a GQ man. Right. Now, Andy wants to know what your next project is.
Okay, it's a what they call a tropical shirt. It's a shirt that opens up at the top. More of a V.
Look where you are.
More of a V. It's supposed to be a more casual shirt. And then after that, we're doing a jeans jacket.
Oh, so you are going to do the jeans jacket?
Yeah, except I'm not doing it in jeans material. I'm doing it in a heavy canvas, and it's going to be a camel color.
Oh, a camel coat. There's probably a joke in there somewhere, but okay, so
yeah, because I don't really wear blue jeans that much, so I thought, well, I have a couple of different kinds of canvas I can use. I can use black, I can use camel. I have a navy actually as well.
When you say, you're saying camel, not camel.
Camel,
as in the
humpbacks.
Okay, yeah, because it's almost sounding like you're saying camel.
Oh no, it's sort of a beigey color, like what they call camel, like with camel toes.
Yeah. You went there. I did not go there. I wasn't going to say anything about that. I thought it. I didn't say it, but you said it. So
it's two-hump camels.
Yeah.
I love two-hump
But
camels.
it sounded like what you're saying is you're still not getting what I was saying.
What?
You sounded like you were saying camel, as in camouflage.
Camel. Camel.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Camel.
I know. I was just clarifying it for other people. Speech impediments, really. Andy says, let me know when you start taking orders. Yeah. That won't happen.
I swear enough on the ones that I do.
Yeah. So in another couple of weeks, if the weather ever warms up a little bit, you will see us sporting our lovely summer wardrobe of short shirts that Walter has made. I have 3 now that he's made me. And how many you got for yourself?
I don't know yet. I've got 2 or 3.
Well, it's all about me anyways. I don't care. You're just my personal tailor, so make my clothes for me. Okay, so that's what you've been working on. Well, I've been working on a few things too. And where to begin? Well, let's start with my rocket. This is my 50s style retro rocket. It's not quite done yet. In fact, the printer, and you can probably hear something squeaking in the background, my 3D printer is printing out this big cloud of what's supposed to be smoke coming from the exhaust, and that's what you mount it on. And it's a huge lump. It's going to take a day and a half to print. And I just started printing it, and it attaches to this end of the rocket. So it looks like the rocket is, okay, I'm all mixed up because the screen is different way. Looks like it is blasting off in this big cloud below. I think it's going to be really cool. But it is kind of nifty. But again, it's a nice toy. And then, okay, I was watching... Oh, wait, before I start talking about that, let me talk about this. I'm making a quilt, but this quilt is pretty much all embroidered in the hoop. And there'll be 21 of these, and they're all different flowers. They're all embroidered, and it's also quilted. So I don't know if you can see the... Try to get the light right. Well, it's hard to see it. It's on white, but it's already quilted. And I'll probably have to do some additional quilting, but these pieces will all go together, and this will make an entire quilt. Now, I think this is more of a decorative quilt, not a quilt you'd actually use, because, I mean, it's all embroidered. And you can wash it. Embroidery will wash, but I don't think it's intended for that. It takes about 45 minutes for each one of these. So, and I think I've done 12. So I've got a few more. I've got about another 9, 10 to go with that. So I was watching YouTube video. There's a woman called Lisa Walden. She's from Australia, and she interviews various fiber textile artists. And there was one that caught my eye, and her name is Wen Redman. I have trouble saying that. Wen Redman. And she does something called digital fiber art. And she has this book out. And it's a really interesting technique. She has a DVD that you used to be able to buy, but now you can just download it for about $11 Canadian that shows you how to do this. So I bought that download and watched it, and I'm starting to read this book. But in the meantime, from the video, I've been trying my own techniques. And essentially what it is you are using your inkjet printer to print on a fabric. It's actually not fabric, it's stabilizer. It's tearaway stabilizer, which you use in, for example, I use, no, I don't have tearaway in those. I use tearaway a lot if it's for something that you're not going to see the back of, and you just pull it off. It just tears off from the design when you have it done. So what she does is she takes a sheet of tearaway stabilizer, cut down to 8.5 by 11 to fit a printer, and then she goes to her mixed media supplies and gets out some light molding paste. And light molding paste looks like plaster of Paris for those of you that don't do mixed media, although it's much thinner than that. And you spread that onto the tearaway sheet, and you put texture into it. Now, you can put texture into it many ways. You can spread it through a stencil. You can take marking tools. You can take the end of a pencil or a pen and draw in it, whatever, to create texture. And then you let that dry. Then you add a color wash over the top of it, if you wish. And so you can use anything. You can use like color sprays. You can use acrylic paint that's been watered down. You can use liquid acrylic paints, whatever, even alcohol inks to colorize the background. Let that dry. And then you go over it with something called digital grounds. Now, Golden, which is a company that makes a lot of artist supplies, used to make digital grounds. And I have a bottle of it that I haven't used that much. They have discontinued it, but there's another one you can get called Ink Aid that does the same thing. And essentially what this does is it allows your ink from your inkjet printer to bind with this substrate that you're putting through, that you've put the molding paste on in the color wash, and it won't bleed through and run all over the place and make a mess. And then you let that dry before you put it into the printer. Then you put it in the printer, print whatever you want on it, and you have a really nice textured image. And then you develop this into a wall hanging, but really a wall hanging because this stuff isn't really waterproof, so you wouldn't be able to wash it. So I tried this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Now these samples I'm showing you right now, I just did on cardstock. But you see the texture on this and the color wash? I put some of that light molding paste through a stencil, just here and there. And then I did, I think I used Illusions sprays, which are an acrylic color spray. And when that dried, I put the digital grounds on this, and then I fed this through the printer. Now the trick is you can't have too high a texture because your printer can only handle something so thick, right? So you've got to make sure you keep it within that allotment of space. And then you take your picture. Now, she layers pictures using like Adobe Photoshop, and I used Photoshop Elements. So I basically took a picture of myself, and I took one of the pages from that I had scanned from my art journal and added some other elements and just sort of blended them together. And then I could print this out. Well, here's what I ended up with. Now, I didn't use that particular picture. And the color choice here isn't the best, but I was experimenting. So those 4 panels in the center are all have been done using this method. So there's texture paste on that. It's very difficult to see in the video, but there are raised areas in there. And then I printed my picture on top of it, and I did some quilting. And this is not actually free motion quilting. I did it through a program in the embroidery machine to add more texture, and I did embroidered a couple of flowers in these parts. And I sewed it all together and put a border on it and a backing, and now it's a wall hanging. So this was an experiment. So that's why I say I'm not thrilled with my color combination or whatever. I was just trying it. But this one is the one I'm working on now. This one I got a little bit more serious about. So those are my pictures, and what I did was what they call an attic window technique to make it look like you're looking out a window, and put this border on it. And now what I have to do is layer it with my batting and my backing fabric, and then I'm going to do a little bit more quilting on top of it. So it's kind of an interesting technique, and there are other techniques she has in the book, but I haven't finished reading the book yet to see what it's all about. But it's kind of like, it appeals to me because I'm melting 2 worlds together, my world of mixed media and my world of quilting, and they're coming together for art. And so, in a sense, this is an art quilt, a mini art quilt that I'm making right there. So it's kind of fun. I'm doing a tutorial video about the process as I work through this as well, which I will eventually post up on the channel. So if you're interested in it, there'll be more comprehensive details about how to do it in that. So what are people saying? Actually, Teresa, you couldn't use them as pot pads because the chemicals that are on the layer.
I think she might have been referring to your embroidery.
Oh, what? These? Oh, yeah, these you could use for that. But I thought you might have been meaning the other things that I was creating, because all of those products are acrylic, in one form or another. Even the light molding paste is an acrylic. So essentially it's plastic. If you put anything hot on it, it's going to melt and stick to it. And that presents a problem when I'm making this, I've discovered. Ironing it. I had to be very, very careful with that. So I think I should have used a applique sheet over probably the top of it. But I was very careful because too much heat and it will melt and it'll stick to your iron. And then you got a major problem. Oh, hi, Mr. What was Fidel?
Is that Mr. Leon?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Leon. Hi, Mr. Leon. You throw me off when I see expectoral petroleum. Yes, you could make a fabric out of it, Teresa, but again, it would be, that's what it is. You are making fabric. But the problem is, it's not going to stand up to machine washing, I don't think. Did it have a hard time going through it all? No, actually not. The embroidery machine is fairly powerful that I have, the 550. We're going to talk about that in a second. So no, it didn't have any problem at all. But the paste that's on it, I wondered about that. But it is such a soft and light molding paste. It's just a piece of plastic. When it dries, it's just the consistency of plastic, just like acrylic paints. So anyways, it's a new technique, and I've not done playing with it yet. So we'll see where it goes from there. So that's what I've been up to. So on what day? Yesterday. I get the days mixed up. I picked up my Janome 550E from Ultimate Sewing. It came in. And for So Chatty, actually came in at a good time because we had already planned to review the Janome 550E embroidery machine. So I did an unboxing when I got it. And we talked about the details of the machine, things we like, things we don't like. We also talked about embroidery threads that we use, because we both use different types of embroidery threads. And we talked about stabilizers. It's a pretty long video. It runs about an hour and 35 minutes. But we're pretty comprehensive in that. So that's in the latest episode of So Chatty, episode 6. And in the show notes today for this live, the link to that video will be there. So anyway, so I got mine, and I'm happy right now about that.
And I'm happy too, because you stopped using mine.
Is there a thread in my beer?
I guess so.
All we have in this house is threads everywhere. Which reminds me, tomorrow's the first of the month. It's house cleaning day. I hate house cleaning, but I hate a dirty house even more. Okay, so time for Squirrel Cam. Yep, Squirrel Cam. This morning, I looked out under our patio area, and there was, at first I thought it was a chipmunk, because the chipmunks love us, and they love to destroy things. And, but it was I think he was a young squirrel, just a baby, because he didn't look very big, but he found something on our carpet out there to munch on, because he was licking it. So I don't know, I was tempted to give him a vacuum cleaner and let him go and clean up under there. But I got him on video, so I thought I would show you my video of my squirrel. So I'm going to switch over to that as soon as I find my cursor.
Well,
and here we go.
A little creature come to visit us.
Now there is sound in here,
in
but
the
we
deck.
can't hear it,
He's
but they
looking for
can.
little things to eat.
Good open screen.
Here, see if we can get a little better shot of him.
Watch it.
Good open screen.
Watch it.
A little chipmunk.
Good open screen.
Or is he a little squirrel?
Watch it.
Actually, I think he might be a little squirrel. He might be just a baby. I'm not really sure. Isn't he cute? I don't know what he's finding to eat on that carpet out there. Oops. Where is he? There he is. Oh, I think he spotted me. Yeah, he's a little squirrel. There he is. He certainly is giving the place a once-over. I should take out the vacuum cleaner. Maybe he could clean up under there. Save me the job. He's just a young little guy. So I think he might be a baby. Very cute. Very cute.
So that was our little adventure with our little squirrel. Oh, Marlene. Welcome, Marlene. New to the chat. Okay. Well, glad that you've decided. She says, Walter, love your garment sewing.
Thank you.
And Lisa says, me and Grandma used to feed our squirrel by hand. We would tap on the screen door every afternoon. We called him Moki? Or do you mean monkey? Oh, hi, Aaron. We lived in Pennsylvania. I was the Lord of the Chipmunks and Squirrels. So we fed him chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, well, Walter won't let me feed the wildlife because he says, well, they'll just be hanging around all the time. They're already hanging around all the time.
We don't need more of them.
No. Well, they're so cute.
Yeah, right.
They're so cute.
Until they start invading everything, start falling stuff apart.
Well, we did have those Chip and Dale last year that were ripping the crap out of everything. So, Judith says, threads are an environmental hazard here too. I always have threads ravelings wound around my shirt buttons from pre-washing fabric with my officios. Okay. Yeah, I know. Well, we have lots. Of course, Walter has a tendency just to throw all his stuff on the floor of his sewing room and then track it all over the house. Doesn't seem to realize that.
Well, the stuff that coat that I've got, both the lining and the coat shed like crazy.
Well, good to know. So why bother cleaning tomorrow? Teresa says they're like children. They're cute until they tear your house apart. Yeah, know that. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting that he popped up there, so I had to take a little picture of him. Okay, so what's coming up before we move on to some other topics here? Craft and Chat this week, people. The first Wednesday of the month is this Wednesday, May the 5th. May the 5th be with you. I know it's supposed to be May the 4th, but May the 5th, 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock p.m. Just a drop in if you're interested. The link will be in the show notes below for the Zoom. We don't record it. We just have fun. So I hope some of you can join us for that. We don't have a lot of people that are available always for it, but that's okay. It's just to work on your projects and not worry about anything. Hi, Dennis.
Yeah, Teresa, you're right. The squirrels usually have a ton of fleas in them.
Yeah. Including bubonic plague. Okay, well, that's good to know. Oh, right, Anita. I forgot about it. It's Andy's birthday on Wednesday, too. I did write that down. Of course, I'm not looking at where I wrote it down. So that makes sense. So anyways, all are welcome, and it doesn't matter what kind of craft you're doing. It can be sewing, it can be mixed media, it can be scrapbooking, it can be whatever turns your crank. It's just to get together, talk a little bit, and work on our projects. Marilyn says, Stephen, congratulations on your new machine. You do such a beautiful job. Well, thank you, Marlene. Some people have been here for a while know why I have a new machine, because I did have an embroidery machine before, the 15,000. But yeah, if you want to know the story of the 15,000, just check the backlog on the Idiot Quilter episodes, and you'll hear all about it. Guys, humans, we carry more diseases than any other species. That's interesting. I was afraid it was an enema. I don't know what that means. But whatever. Okay, so that takes us to newsworthy. Well, yeah, unfortunately, our numbers are still high in this province. We're still in lockdown.
Apparently, Alberta's worse than us. So.
Oh, are they? Well, the Albertans, anyways, were kind of redneck about the whole thing since the beginning, so that's not a surprise. Yeah, we're not wearing no masks out here in the big West. No way. But anyways, yeah, so there's no indication as to when this lockdown is going to be done, but they keep talking about getting the kids back into school. We are now into May. School year ends at the end of June. So they're aiming to put them back into school in June. Don't know why. Why not let them finish the year out online like they're doing right now? I don't know what this push is to put kids back into school. The kids can't be vaccinated yet, not here in our province. They don't qualify yet in the age groups. There are younger people that seem to be getting the disease as well from the new variants, which, when this thing first started.
Yeah, like there was a 13-year-old girl that died a week or so ago.
So I don't get the push on for this. I say let them finish the school year out at home, doing online, and then they have the summer, and then maybe by September, things will be better under control. Maybe. I mean, it's anybody's guess. But this is what they're harking on. And they're also talking about sick days, paid sick days for people who, don't have something already with their business or that. And if they've, because people are coming in because they don't have paid sick days and working with the symptoms. And that's no good. And our provincial government seems to be resistant to this idea. Well, because they're the Conservative government. The Conservative government supports big businesses, and big businesses that will cost them money, and they don't want to do that. So I don't know. It's still quite a mess here. We just have no leadership whatsoever. And our provincial government, our premier, keeps throwing the blame on the federal government. The federal government throws it back on the provincial governments. So it's a vicious circle. And we're all caught in the middle of it. So what people saying, Teresa says, I'm selling my 15,000, but not because of problems. Just found I'm not into embroidery enough to hold that much money in real estate and machine. My needs are more of an industrial type. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you always get whatever machines really suit you the best. So, actually, it's kind of nice having the separate embroidery machine because you can then sew and embroider at the same time. So,
yeah, I'm happy that this is the way it has finally worked out. So, and I really like my M7, as you know. My Continental M7 is my main sewing machine. I really like that machine. Lisa says, I worry about the children too. Yes, online is better. And Anita says, same here in Ohio. All schools had to go back to in-person on March the 1st. They're out at the end of May. Why? Yeah, I don't get it. The only thing I can think of here in our province is that our premier is catering to parents. Two parents work. Someone has to look after their kids, especially if they're in elementary school. Not so much maybe with the high school kids.
Or single parents.
And all that kind of stuff. Well, you know how I feel about parenting. They're your kids. They're your responsibility. Don't expect the world to look after them. I know that sounds kind of cruel, and, there are circumstances. I get it. But
the other place there's a big breakouts now is daycares.
Oh yeah, because
they still have them. So
the daycare, and the daycare people have not been vaccinated yet. Though I think in this next round they are going to qualify for it if their daycare is in a hot spot. So we have all these pop-up things that are happening, pop-up vaccination clinics. So all these people are standing in line. Okay, yes, they are social distancing. But they're all standing there waiting for a shot. Isn't that potential of spreading too?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand the logic. I don't think there is any logic.
The way the vaccines are being doled out in Ontario anyway is not very organized.
No, they've just blown it. But meanwhile, I listen to different podcasts that come from the United States, and they're all talking about getting their second shot. The earliest we're going to get our second shots might be August. The United States
is supposed to be at the end of July.
Which is the 1st of August.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not August. It's the end of July.
I stand corrected again by His Royal Highness, who is always correcting you for anything. It doesn't matter. If you told him the sky was blue today, he'd say that's not really a true blue. It's more of an indigo. I don't know. Whatever. So, but the point is, the Americans are getting their shots a hell of a lot faster than we are here. Now, America has 10 times more the population than Canada does.
But they also have vaccine manufacturers, which Canada doesn't have.
And that's why we're not getting it, because we had one government in the past who thought it was a bright idea, saying, hey, we don't need to develop our own drugs and vaccines in this country. There's other countries that can do it. We'll buy it from them. Yeah. How's that working out for us? Not well. Not well. So, I don't know. The whole thing is just nothing but a headache, and so I guess we just carry on and live with it. So, what are we watching? Well, I just watched a really interesting Spanish program, a series, called La Templaza, and in brackets they put it, The Vineyard. It's really good. It's dubbed good, because I won't watch anything that has subtitles in it, because I hate watching a movie and reading at the same time. But I really liked it. And this was the first season of it, so I don't know if they have plans to make a second season. I kind of hope they do. We're into a series that's been on for a while. It's got 3 seasons. It's called Mr. Mercedes. It's really good. We really got kind of into it. We just finished the first season of it the other night. We have the second season to start. But it's on Prime. Both of those shows were on Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, I don't know what else they might be on in other places, but here they're on Prime. The one thing that's getting a little bit frustrating is Netflix and their movies. They haven't had anything really new.
Yeah, well,
and exciting.
That's because they haven't been able to film it because of the pandemic.
Well, yeah, I know. But, there's just...
They've got new stuff coming out this month.
Well, we finished watching Shadow and Bone, which is a fantasy thing based on a series of books that I read. It was okay. It took a little while to get into it, but then, of course, I'd read the book, so I was more interested in it. I know you watched it. What did you think?
It's okay.
Yeah, that's a real.
Well, I liked it, but it wasn't one that I would say that I was riveted to it. Like, it's weird because it falls into the type of thing I would like, which is a fantasy type, sci-fi type, fantasy type thing. But for some reason, I thought it was kind of slow moving, or it was not so much that there's some other stories happening in it that I wasn't quite. They never gave you enough background.
Well, that's the thing. It helps when you've read the books. That's usually the case, anyways. When anything they adapt to. I don't think it translated that well, maybe to the small screen. It was just there was a lot going on that they didn't really explain. Yeah. But it's not bad. I mean, you have to be into that kind of movie, that kind of thing, sort of a fantasy, alternate universe, things like that. But I am kind of disappointed with what Netflix choosings have been lately. But yeah, I get it, because they can't make much. Now, having said that, they've just come out with the 4th season of The Handmaid's Tale. Of course,
that's not on Netflix.
That's not on Netflix or on Prime. It's on Hulu in the United States, and we can't get Hulu in Canada, but I still get them. And if I told you how, I'd have to kill you. But so we haven't started watching it yet, but that's one of our favorite shows too. So we've been looking forward to the next season of that. Just see what people saying. Aaron says, I just got my first vaccine today, in and out in 20 minutes. Teresa says, I'll probably get my 3rd if needed by August. 3rd?
Well, they're talking about boosters, right?
Oh, I thought they were considering the 2nd shot the booster.
No, that's not a booster. The 2nd shot, it's a complete vaccine. It's 1st and 2nd shot. Then there's a booster that they're trying to develop.
Oh, God, that'll never get tested. It'll be 2030 by the time we get boosters.
Well, it's been very poorly organized in our province in doling out the vaccines. And there's like government site, and if you qualify within the age group for that, then you go to the government site. But then if you don't qualify for that group, you have other groups like what we fell into, and you have to call a pharmacy. But there's no central booking for the pharmacies. You have to keep phoning around to all different kinds of pharmacies till you find one that you can get an appointment to. So that's a bit of a mess. And then they've got these pop-up ones in areas where there's a lot of transmission, and they basically pop up and they make people stand in line for hours to get a vaccine, which is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. It's very poorly organized.
But they keep getting criticized by the opposition in the legislature, and they come up with pat answers for everything, as governments do.
Well, the provincial government it complains about federal government not giving them vaccines, and or they blame them for something else, and then the provincial government's always trying to blame the federal government for something.
Yeah, well, I said that earlier.
But then they don't organize themselves either. So
yeah. Well, we're at their whim. That's the thing. We have no control over it. Andy says, last night I watched a movie called Domain on Amazon Prime. It was pretty good and was surprised by the ending. Oh, I haven't seen that one listed.
I haven't listed.
Have to look that one up.
Sometimes we don't get always all the selections.
We don't always get the same things that the United States get.
Yeah, because of our stupid
laws
that say that if it's being offered on a different channel that's a Canadian channel, then it can't play on our channel. So
yeah, so I don't know. But anyways, we'll look that one up.
We'll take a look. Though there is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of carryover. I didn't see that one on Amazon lately, but I'll have to take a look.
Well, you bought that VPN thing.
Yeah, I know, but then the VPN, if you go on the Netflix, right, for instance, it says that you're on a VPN and you can't use it.
Well, that asshole then that does the Netflix connection or whatever. Advertises that as being something that everybody should have and do. Well, anyways. Marlene says, have you watched Yellowstone on Prime? A bit crude, but great story. Yes, I did. And I think there was, 3 seasons of it, but there's supposed to be a 4th one, but I don't think the 4th one has come out yet. But yeah, I really like that. That's the one that's got, what's his name in it? Kevin Costner in it. And I'm not a Kevin Costner fan, but in that, I thought he was pretty good. It suited him. But yeah, it is a bit crude, but well, I kind of like that part of it with it too. Oh, Teresa says the boosters for variants.
Yeah,
that's
what I thought.
All right. Well, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Well, fine.
I said variants.
No, you didn't. In your head, you did. You didn't come out of your mouth. I don't know. Teresa says, I was on a pharmacy wait list, then got a call that my doctor's office was having a weekend to give shots to their clients. Don't know how they got to do that. Don't care. Got mine. Canceled the pharmacy. Yeah, well. That's the thing. And then there's the ones who want the designer shots. The people who are all holding out for Pfizer, but they don't want the AstraZeneca because of the side effects, supposedly. Although we've discovered we have the AstraZeneca. It's the shot we had. I mean, beggars can't be choosers. You got to take what you can get, right? We didn't really have much of a reaction to it. We had a little bit of tiredness, a little soreness where they injected you, but that's to be expected. Walter had a little bit of the chills from it, but pretty good. Except we discovered that there might be another side effect:
skin rashes.
Skin rashes, which suddenly I developed 2 days ago,
and I had one right after I had the shot.
And it's been 3 weeks since I had the shot. So this is interesting. I don't know. Well, if my leg drops off in the morning, I'll know. Aaron says, I started watching Inside Number 9 recently after the show being compared to Black Mirror.
I haven't heard of that one.
I haven't heard that one at all. Is that on Prime or Netflix, Aaron? I'll write this down.
Inside Number 9.
Inside Number 9. haven't seen it. Judah says, have you watched Great British Sewing Bee? Series 7 just started. Can't find it in the U.S. except by clicking on Dangerous page, which I have no intention. No, we can't get it either. I searched for it as well, and the same problem. All we could see were on YouTube, they had little bits and pieces of it, but with something where people sit around and criticize it. And I wasn't interested in that, so no. And I tried some of my other sources, and I had no luck there either.
Yeah, what's his Mr. Leon? Yeah, there was a rumor that they had contaminated AstraZeneca vaccines, but according to our Canadian government, they supposedly test all the vaccines that are coming in. So I
didn't hear that.
Yeah, I did.
It's contaminated?
Yeah, it's the same company that was making the Johnson & Johnson stuff where they ended up throwing it out. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Really. I was really sick after the second Pfizer shot. I even had to take extra strength. Mucinex 12 hours.
Yeah, I have heard of a few people that we've heard online talk about the second shot of Pfizer, saying that they didn't have much of a reaction on the first shot, but the second shot really did them. And I don't know about what happens in the second shot for AstraZeneca, though.
Oh, it's on BritBox, Aaron says. Paid subscription. Well, I'm not paying for any more subscriptions. But I wonder if I can find it in my other sources. Look it up. Look up. Okay. All my lymph nodes hurt, too. It was so weird. Well, if it's something that's only temporary like that, then I guess we can put up with it, to get over this thing.
I've read somewhere, I was looking around online for skin problems and that with taking the vaccines, and apparently Pfizer has there are skin problems with Pfizer as well, usually for the second shot. Weird rashes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, you kind of wonder, like this, they developed these vaccines pretty quickly, which was good, but on the other hand...
They're not very well refined.
No, they're not very well refined, and we don't know what the long-term consequences might be from them, too.
But I guess... grow another head.
Well, 2 heads are better than 1. I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, so that brings us down to what... talking about today in thought. So, how do you think your life will have changed if when we get out of this thing? Life is not going to go back to what we used to know it as. I think everybody pretty much has come to that. But how do you think your life will change? Yeah, okay. I know how our lives will change. We were talking about this the other day. My bartender has to get me beer. We're talking about, for example, our eating habits. We didn't used to go out a lot to eat, but we went out a lot more than we're not going out now. And, we'd probably go out to eat once or twice a week. We'd usually do lunch, and sometimes we'd go out for dinner. We have our, if you've watched my vlog in that, we call Wednesday nights or Avante Wednesdays. Avante's is a restaurant here in our city. That we used to go to once a week. It almost worked out too. We'd go on a Wednesday night, and it's an Italian place. And so we've kind of kept up that tradition, but we make the Italian at home instead on Wednesday nights. But, we were talking and saying, when we get out of this thing, I don't think we're going to suddenly run back to restaurants like we used to. One reason is I enjoy saving the money. You really don't realize how much you spend on eating out until you're not doing it. It's like, wow, that's a lot of money. So that's one thing I think is going to change for us. The other thing I think is the way I shop. I am so used to ordering stuff online right now. I mean, I did it before COVID, but now I do it all the time. In fact, if we don't have a delivery from Amazon, it's a day without sunshine, it seems anymore. And I kind of like shopping that way. So, I think that's going to stick as well. I have a feeling that online learning for the kids is going to be something more permanent than it was before COVID. The teachers' unions here in Ontario are fighting that, which they claim is going to take away teaching jobs. I don't think it will. I think, though, what they'll have to do is make sure that they negotiate in their contracts how many students online per teacher, just like we have class size limitations. But I think really that, I think it'll be a blend. And I think there could be a lot of cost saving measures in that as well. You don't have to maintain necessarily buildings and things for school and that kind of thing. However, it does present the problem if the kids can't be at home all the time, if there's nobody there to look after them, especially the younger ones. So I don't know. So what are people saying? Lisa, so glad it's over for now, but you were right. Who knows? Long term of getting COVID is much worse, though. Oh, yeah, okay, that's through the shots. I'm hoping that my life will change, Teresa says, that my son and his girlfriend will move out after COVID. Cohabitating is getting old. Oh, yeah. God, this is times when I'm glad we're gay. We don't have any children. Don't have to worry about that. Angel says, no eating out equals more fabric. Yes, Angel, it does. And in fact, I have ordered probably more fabric online than what I was actually buying in fabric stores.
Yeah, well, I order a lot of my fabric online for my clothing because, first of all, there aren't very many choices in our area for fabric for clothing. And so sometimes when I need something specific, well, first of all, right now all our clothing stores are closed unless you can do curbside pickup if that particular store has an online presence.
But the problem with buying your clothes that way is sizes. Because when I buy pants, I need to try them on.
No, I'm talking clothing material.
Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind. Carry on.
I'm not talking about clothing material.
Fine.
Right. So, yeah, if you want to buy regular clothing, you need sizes. Like I bought a pair of shoes, and I had to sort of go by the measurements online. And I sort of took a chance that they would fit okay, and it just so happens they fit okay. So, but normally I like to try on shoes and or clothing or something like that if I'm purchasing it. But for fabric, I've been buying a lot of stuff online and not from our general area, all over the country.
Yeah, because you actually have a wider selection of fabric stores if you go online in one way, because there's lots of fabric stores out there, but you have to travel to them. And for us, some of them could be as many as 4 hours away.
One person said on a sewing group that I was on, well, they didn't like to order stuff online because they couldn't feel the fabric or feel the drape and all that. Yeah, that's nice to be able to do. If you can go into a store and actually feel the fabric that you're getting, that you're missing out on that. But I have had guidance from the guy that teaches the class, and that is to look for fabric weights and fabric, what the fabric's made of, like whether it's cotton or polyester or a blend or something like that. And so far, I've been pretty pleased at what I've been able to order online as garment material. I have a couple of misses that didn't quite work out the way I expected it to, but for the majority of stuff that I've ordered, it has worked out well. So,
yeah, well, I can see the person talking about being able to feel the fabric if it's fabric for clothing.
Yeah,
but when it comes for quilting, it all feels the same pretty much. There's not much difference.
Yeah, if you're buying quilting cotton, actually, it's pretty easy to buy.
As long as you're buying a name brand.
Yeah,
you're not buying something like Walmart sells.
Yeah,
or something like that. Expecto says, I worked many years in the restaurant industry, and believe me, the best food you can eat is the one you cook at home. Yep, that's true. But you know what it is? People have busy lives, and especially if they're working still. I mean, for us, we're retired. We have all the time in the world.
Well, actually, it's not just... okay, it's going to a restaurant was a little bit laziness, and that let's go to a restaurant rather than having to prepare it.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was laziness.
And the other thing is, it's kind of social too. If you can just sort of walk in and sit down, even though like we live together, is walk in and sit down in another environment and be served food.
Well, the other thing is the choice. Because what we look at each other every day and go, what are we having for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know.
Well, actually, it's also an opportunity for us to have different things to eat.
True, but we don't always.
We'll go to a restaurant and we'll end up ordering the same thing. But so it kind of defeats the purpose. But there are times where you've ordered one thing and that you like that I don't particularly like. So.
But the other thing too about eating out, a lot of times is you think you're going to have a better choice. You know, I don't know. We've done this before. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do we got? I don't know. Nothing's occurring. Nothing's striking me. Okay, let's just go out.
Then we're not.
But then we sit there, we look at the menu in the restaurant and go, I don't know what to pick. Nothing's grabbing me. And if you go out,
then we must not really be hungry.
No. Well, if you go out enough, you find it doesn't matter where you go. It's the same old, same old.
Yeah.
It seems to be. So I don't know. Plus, the way that they do restaurants now with their team serving and that.
Yeah, well, I don't like being ushered in and ushered out. Really.
Well, that's the thing. Their whole point is get you in, get you out.
Like fast food now.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, fast food's slower than some restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But just looking up here, getting behind in the comment. Okay, where's my cursor? There it is. Just cutting down here to Anita says, they say that working from home will become more the norm and people are now moving to where they want to live because of getting to work from home.
Yeah, the only problem with that is that what happens if your business suddenly decides that, no, we're going to want you back in the office again when you've moved away.
Yeah. But I can see that. But, you know, working from home isn't new, but what COVID did was put it into, like, made it more the norm, I guess.
I worked from home for a while before I retired. And, yeah, it's nice to be able to get up and log on and do your work, and you can collaborate online with online meetings and all other stuff. But sometimes it's just not the same as being in an office with other people live, because sometimes the productivity got better to be able to actually work with somebody rather than trying to communicate with them online.
Well, I can see that point. And if I was still teaching, I would rather be in a classroom for a variety of reasons. I mean, I taught for 3 years online when my board was experimenting with e-learning. And that was back at the beginning of the 2000s. And I hated it. I was glad to get back into the classroom because I had more resources at my fingertips for that. There was more things I could do with the kids in a physical environment than I could do online. I mean, yes, there's lots of buzzers and bells online that you can use with the kids, with them. In fact, it's much more sophisticated now than when I was teaching online because the technology has improved. But still, it's not the same as being in person with the kids. Because one thing, some kids won't tell you they're struggling. So you need to be able to read their facial expressions, their body expressions, and the whole bit like that to figure out what's going on with them. The dynamics are not there online because you have a screen separating you from the kids.
One thing I remember one time when I was working at home, I was having difficulty explaining a problem to one of my colleagues that is supposed to fix the problem. And we sort of talked for over an hour trying to figure out how to fix the problem. And then on a couple of days later, I was in the office and walked up to this person's desk and had it fixed within 5 minutes because we could facially see each other and talk to each other about what the problem was.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, maybe I'm just old school or something like that.
Well, you are because you're old.
But there is a certain there's a hidden communication that occurs when you're face to face with somebody that you can't convey over online.
No, but maybe things will get better once we get virtual or once we get holographic images.
Yeah, you can sort of jump
so
in.
So who knows? Angel says, one thing I miss most is the fabric district in Philadelphia being open and shoppable. Nothing like the feel of a good fabric. Teresa says, as long as the stores have easy returns, I buy clothes online. I find a lot more assortment for plus sizes online than in stores. I think buying women's clothes are a little easier online. I could be wrong about this, but with men's clothes, it's, well, first of all, there's not the selection that's there. And second of all, no two pairs of pants fit the same way anymore. It used to be you could go into a store, say, this is my waist size, go to the rack with that waist size, put them on, they would fit. Now you can go to the rack, you can take this brand of jeans, this brand of jeans, and this brand of jeans. They all have the same waist size, and the three of them will not fit the same at all. It's like they're just suggesting a waist size on some of these things. I swear that they think that a 36-inch waist is actually the new 32. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's really hit and miss. And not only that, a lot of times with the men's clothes is they cut them for thin guys, and I'm not a thin guy.
Yeah, so, slim cut, slim fit.
And so you'll try on something and it just won't fit.
Yeah, Anita says, I used to go for a morning coffee and see people I knew here in town, but I've not been in for a coffee in a year. Save dollars, but I get pretty lonely. Well, yeah, I think that's the one thing.
I mean, we are social people, so that's the one thing that we've been sort of cut off socially from each other. So,
yeah, that's true. Although for us, we're not big, like, socializers. Like, I mean, we like to socialize, but it's not the be-all and the end-all of everything. We tend to be a little bit introverted, believe it or not. You wouldn't think that, but we do. So I don't know. Yeah, volunteering things too. Yeah. Angel says, and not have to do the dishes. That's true. Lisa says, I worked in restaurants as a youngster, and you can't imagine what goes on in those kitchens, so I really don't go out either, even before COVID.
Yeah, well, we used to both work in restaurants, too, and I'd rather not think about those things.
No. No, that's for sure. Oh, when I was a kid, I worked as a busboy in a fancy restaurant, and in those days, that was the 70s, the early 70s, they had a pickle tray and a bun basket that, as a busboy, I was a busboy, you had to bring it and put it on the table when people first sat down. And when you also cleaned off the tables after they left and they were finished. And we were told by the management that the buns that were left in the basket, we threw into a hot drawer, a drawer that kept the buns warm. And the pickles and olives, they were, okay, this is disgusting when I think about it now. At the time, I didn't think much of it. There was a little oval tray, and on one end you had smears of pickle, like dill pickles or that, on the end, and the other part you had a mixture of olives. And anything that hadn't been eaten off of that tray, you went back in, there was a big vat for olives and a big vat for pickles. You put your hand, this is how I was trained, you put your hand on the pickle spears and tipped the tray up so all the olives dropped back into the vat, and then you went over and dumped the pickles in the vat. We did not wear gloves. We weren't even told to wash our hands between all that. Well, you didn't have time if it was a busy night. You were in there, like, doing all of this back and forth. So my parents used to like to go to this restaurant as well because it was actually very close to where I lived. And I always warned them, okay, when you go in and you have a pickle, if it's a bit soggy, you know that one's been in the vat many, many times. It's been put in and taken out, put in, taken out. Same with the olives. And the buns, look for fingerprints. Because the guy who owned this restaurant was so cheap that even if someone had poked a bun and there was an indent in it or possibly actually stuck their finger in it, he said, no, just put it back in there. No one will notice because we keep the lights low. So,
yeah. Well, I had the same thing. I worked in a family-style restaurant. And if the buns weren't touched, they ended up being recycled. And I got stuck one night on a slow night to go in and peel potatoes for mashed potatoes. And the 50-pound bag of potatoes that I was peeling were half rotten. And then I got crap because I was cutting too much rotten off.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget there was one customer, and I guess I was working that night, and he called me over to the table just after the waitress had served the meal and said, I ordered this, well done, or something, had to be done a certain way. We'll just say well done right now. This is not well done. And I said, okay, so our policy was if there was a problem with the meal, you picked it up and you brought it into the kitchen to have it. Well, what the customer thought was redone from scratch. No, took it back in. Now, the guy who was the cook was this big, burly, hairy guy that, basically a stereotype. You've seen him in movies,
Brutus.
Kind of a thing. Brutus, yeah. So he'd look at it and go, nothing matter with this goddamn steak. He'd take it, throw it back on the grill, press it into the grill on one side, flip it over, press it in the grill again, and just that's all he'd do. A couple of seconds, throw it back on the plate, said, take it out. I'd take it back out to the customer, says, here you are, sir, and leave. He'd call me back over. This steak is not the way I ordered it. I said, so sorry, sir. I take it back into the kitchen, go to the cook. Now, at this point, the cook was not a nice person at all to start with. So I really didn't want to get hit with any sharp knives or anything. Say, apparently this is still not the way the customer wants it. He says, I'll fix it. He picked it up off the plate. He threw it on the floor. He took his foot and he went, mash, 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 picked it back up, threw it on the grill, wiped it all over the grill, took his hand and just pushed it all over the grill. He wasn't wearing gloves or anything, didn't touch it with the utensils, flipped it over the other way, smashed it all down, and then put it back on and took it out. And I took it out and gave it to the customer. The customer did not complain again. They seemed to be fine with it. But do you know what you're eating? If you saw what, and the floor in the kitchen was not particularly clean because, there's grease and everything else because it's a working kitchen. So, yeah, be careful when you complain in a restaurant with it. So, although I have many times. Okay, so what's going on? Anita says, people are on the move here in the U.S. COVID forced companies to take up the work from home. Yeah. Since 97, I've worked from home and been an isolationist. So nothing's changing for you. I think the new norm will be a blend of being able to come into the office some days but work from home too. Yeah, and they seem to be talking about that. They're doing that right now in some cases.
Yeah, well, they tried that at the place I was working at, and then management changed and decided everybody had to come into the office, and then COVID happened and everybody's out of the office now. So I have no idea what they're going to be doing there. So.
Well, I just heard a study on the news or something I was watching the other day, and they said that productivity for people that are working at home now, for companies, with their employees working at home during COVID, it's gone up.
Yeah, well, it tended to be, even where I work, people tended to work longer hours when they were working from home, even though they're at home. So.
Yeah, Angel says, one of my sons says he finds some of his college labs more difficult in an online environment. Yeah, well, I could see that. Not everything translates well into online. And also it depends on the mentality of the person working online. For I know when I was teaching online, there were some people that just dropped out after the first week. They just didn't have the self-discipline to be able to work on it. or they were just too confused, or they weren't technically savvy enough to be able to handle it. So, yeah. Judith says, people on the move in the U.S. was just reading that California, the chaparral has the lowest moisture content ever measured for this time of year due to drought conditions. Can you imagine in the Old West where the pickle barrel sat in the corner of the general store and you just reached in and got one? Yeah. People moving out of California and housing costs rising like crazy in
Washington,
Oregon, and Idaho. Not enough housing available to meet the demand. Usually one Spokane winter makes them reconsider that plan. Yeah. Judith's vinegar is an antibacterial, luckily. Yeah, well, I don't think the world is going to go back to normal. And there is no normal. That's over with. That was then. This will be now, and this will be in the future.
It'll be a new normal.
And I think, I think I'm going to be a little bit more cautious.
Actually, I'm not going to be running out if they open things back up here. I'm not going to be running right back out again because you don't know how well these vaccines will actually work.
No, that's true. So, and they're already now talking here in our province. They're starting to use the term fourth wave. So I don't know what we have to look forward to in that one. He thinks the professor, Angel says, is an excellent person and very engaging online, not so much. Yeah, well, I can see that because, personalities, and Walter already said this about, reading people's facial cues and things like that. Some people, their personalities will transcend electronics.
I mean, a lot of times I worked in an office where we were trying to fix software problems. And what ended up happening a lot of times is that you'd be sitting at the computer and there'd be two people standing over you watching what you were doing. And all three of us would be talking to each other about how to fix a certain problem. And all of a sudden, somebody would get a clue on how to fix that one problem. And it was all that interaction between the three of us standing next to each other that we were able to figure it out quickly. Whereas trying to do that all online is kind of, it doesn't have the same creative flow, I guess.
Especially your attention is diverted when you're trying to figure out whether anybody is wearing pants when you're online.
Yeah.
Judith, she has a recipe for kitchen spray cleaner that uses fresh herbs, vinegar, and water to clean your counters. Almost sounds like you could spray it on your French fries, too. And Anita says, no, not running out soon here either. The Indian variant has already been found in the U.S. Oh, yeah, we have it here in Ontario. It's already, and that's now they're talking about closing our airports. Well, they've already closed them to people
flying from direct India. Flights from India, but that doesn't mean that they can't get a connecting flight.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just our new way of life now. It's just, I am missing, not being able to travel.
Yeah.
I have hope, but I knew it wouldn't be, that we would actually be able to maybe travel this summer and maybe we could drive out west and do that. But that's not going to happen at all. That's not going to happen because, one, I'm not going anywhere I'm not going anywhere even after I've had the second vaccine. Not until we have this mystical thing called a herd immunity, which I don't think really exists, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Thankfully, we're living in an age where you can do these online things and stuff like that. So that's been sort of nice to be able to do. Plus, people have been able to work from home and things like that. So because of the technology.
And that's one reason why I do Craft and Chat each month, too, because normally this time of the year or whatever, there'd be retreats you could go to and things like that, but you can't. And I am getting so used to, and I quite enjoy, online retreats or like Craft and Chat or Sew Days or things like that. Initially, when it was first done, it seemed a little strange, but now I kind of like it because, one, I don't have to lug all my stuff to someplace. Two, I don't have to pay money for accommodation and food. And
actually, I think the biggest bonus thing is that you don't have to lug your stuff around.
Yeah.
and you've got everything that you have in your house at hand. So for that thing.
That's not to say that I wouldn't go to a physical retreat when it is possible to do so again. But right now, I'm getting really used to the Zoom world, and I think everybody is. We're all zooming around. But
I think Zoom will hang on for a while.
Oh, yeah, I don't think Zoom's going to go away after this
I think it will complement live stuff. Like, I mean, if we go back to a live environment where you can go to a retreat and that, they may exist, but then I think Zoom get-togethers will continue to exist.
And I think there could be a blend, too.
Yeah.
Like, there could be retreats where people can't get to them because of the distance. Like, for example, there might be a big retreat down in the United States, somewhere in the southern United States, and for us, cost-wise or whatever, travel time is prohibitive. But if they also add to that a Zoom connection in their facility, you could have your virtual people and you could have your people that can physically be there, and you could blend the two in that as well. I mean, they're doing that kind of thing right now with talk shows on TV. They have a virtual audience through that, but I could see them having a blend of both a virtual and a live audience. So
not only that, I think that's a bonus for people that live actually more, provided they have internet connection, more remotely and things like that.
Yeah.
That can't just go away. And then it also is an advantage for people that are somewhat immobile.
Yeah.
Like they can't get around very well.
And taking classes, all kinds of classes, like quilting classes, crafting classes, other classes as well. People are offering those online. And, as long as you've got a decent connection, that works too. Marilyn says, I've been watching all your YouTubes and get nothing done and my house looks like it. I'm not sure if that's a compliment, but I'll take it as such. I think you can have more varied conversation with several people online. In person, you tend to only engage with people you sit by.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been to parties and things like that in the past, and I tend to not socialize that much. I find it it's hard when I end up sticking to the people that I know, and then I don't end up talking to other people. Whereas in Zoom environment, you tend to talk to a whole bunch of other people that you don't really know.
And I think if you have a good facilitator in a Zoom environment, they make conversation more conducive because they'll have tricks for breaking the ice, which work a little, I think, more effectively in a Zoom environment than in a physical environment. Because if you're, put it this way, if you've ever hosted a party in your house and you have people come in and you know that these people know these people, but these people don't know these people, and you don't know maybe these people as well as you know these people, but you're trying to get everybody to mingle, to mix and mingle around, that is a lot of effort to do in a physical environment. In a Zoom environment, in a virtual environment, I think it's a little easier because people, by connecting in already, have taken the plunge to make themselves available. It's easy to go to a party and hide in a corner.
Yeah, because actually on a Zoom meeting, if you get that, I might end up getting stuck talking to the person that I already know at a party and never talk to anybody else at the party and don't ever end up talking to them. But like on a Zoom meeting, you might have 50 people logged in, and you suddenly perk up and say something personal. Then anybody that wants to listen to it can hear it. It's sort of like you're making an announcement in a party.
Yeah.
And
the room goes silent.
And
they all shoot daggers at you.
But actually, in a Zoom environment, it's more, you wouldn't necessarily do that at a party, but you happen to do it in a Zoom meeting because you don't feel intimidated to do that.
Yeah. Also, the variety of people you can meet online, too. I mean, if you go to somebody's party, you know that the people that are at that party all have certain things that are more common, like they come from the same area maybe, they probably do the same sort of work, that kind of thing. But when you're in a Zoom environment, you can have people from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just is kind of an opportunity to open up, your understanding of different cultures, of different ways of life, of different areas. I mean, I think I've learned more about Americans since Zoom has come along than I really knew before. I'd like to say that the stereotypes were wrong. Okay, moving on. I am joking, sort of. Dana says, thinking of all the new people that I met on your Zoom retreat, it was great. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you wouldn't have that opportunity if you were, in meeting people face to face, simply because of geography. And geography dictates the differences in us, too, to a great extent, right? So, but anyways, this has been an interesting conversation and everything, and I hope other people found it interesting as well. But guess what, people? We're already over our time today. So we're going to say goodbye and check out the show notes because it's got links to some of the latest videos on our other, they're not really channels, it's all under one channel, but other playlists or groups like that. Thanks for joining us today. It's always fun. Don't forget about Craft and Chat for those of you that are interested and are able to. 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this coming Wednesday, May the 5th. It's a drop-in, so drop in, say hello. Even if you can't stay the whole time, it doesn't matter. And as Angel says, have a good week, everyone. My vlog will be out tomorrow. Idiot Quilter out on Tuesday. And the next episode of So Chatty at the end of the week. Busy time for everybody. Okay. See you all again.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for joining.